Hey everybody, it's the McGee Uncensored Podcast with your host McGee. Recently I wrapped up my 7th season as a public address announcer for high school basketball. In my 7 years, I've seen good and I've seen bad basketball played. I remember some of the players, not all the players, that's for sure. And I do enjoy being a public address announcer. Consider myself to be prompt, on time, a professional. And I didn't know which direction I was going to take this podcast episode in. I'm not necessarily going to talk too much about the teams or the talent. I just wanted to touch on a few other aspects, mostly of the opposing teams that I've visited and the annoying coaches that walk the sideline, block my view, yell, and get nothing accomplished. You have a bad team. You realize this. You know that you may be coming in for an easy victory, maybe against the girls. And you know you're probably going to get a blowout playing against the boys. That's the hand you're dealt. So just sit back and let it happen. The one thing I found very unprofessional this season that irks me, and I think that's why I wanted to just get it on a podcast, is as I'm reading myself, I don't say I get into a zone, but I'm focused on the starting lineups, getting everything prepared and right, and the pronunciations. And I ask scorekeepers, visiting scorekeepers, I double check. And Avella, the Avella Eagles, the Lady Eagles, their head coach, a man named Jack Kahn. I don't know this man outside of just his ability to coach a middle of the road, below average, Class A girls basketball team. And I get that they might be the smallest school, public school in Western Pennsylvania, and they want their respect, and yeah, good for them. But the one thing that man did was interrupt me as I'm preparing to get other things ready. I had finished doing their starting lineup, and the girl's name I mispronounced. Now, I'm not bothered that I mispronounced the name, because when it's spelled Gianna, you would think it's Gianna. And when a scorekeeper doesn't tell me anything, I just go and by phonetically what I think it is. And he has the audacity, as I'm ready to do our home starting lineup, to stop me and say, if you're going to announce any more, her name is Gina. Now, I'm not going to remain pissed off at this idiot for doing that, but I would never do that. I would wait until all the starting lineups are announced and then say, excuse me, number whatever pronounces it, Gina. Don't be a dickhead and a jerk and try to minimize my job, because I cannot announce your team at all. I'm giving you that courtesy. I'm extending you that courtesy of announcing your team. Bad enough I have to sit here and watch not the greatest game played. You dare to tell me almost how to do my job, but in a sense insult and say, if you're going to announce anymore, well, if you're going to coach anymore, be a better coach. Now, Avella, they made the playoffs. I don't think they'll get past the first round. In fact, they won't get past the first round. They'll probably get blown out. And that guy will just yell the entire game. Probably how unfair things are for them. For those, real quick, that don't know Class A. It's the lowest classification in the Commonwealth for sports. It's not the greatest pool of competition. Let's put it that way. Now that they've gone to 6 classes. So you are stuck with what you're stuck with as far as matchups. And usually the visiting boys that come, most of them get mercy ruled. And the coaches that continue to yell, I don't see the purpose of why they do that. Because you know what the outcome more than likely will be until you get a more talented team to keep up. But blowouts are fun to sit through because you're out within probably an hour. And it's very nice. Very nice. Quick, easy, simple. And recently the last game of the season was a doubleheader. And I dragged on because referee crews calling fouls. The girls' game, the visiting team, was Mapletown, Greene County. Not much goes on there. Not much talent comes out of there. Mapletown's assistant girls coach is a screamer, a yeller, and a downright bitch. First, I don't have your timeouts. I don't know who your timeouts are. Don't ask me for timeouts. Your timeouts are with your scorekeeper. Ask them. They barely made it into the playoffs. By winning that game, they clinched. And I posed a question to a friend of mine during the game, or right after the game concluded. And I asked him because he coaches sports, and I said, would you rather make the playoffs as a really bad team and get embarrassed in the first round, or miss the playoffs and save the embarrassment of getting blown out in the first round? He said it was a tough question because some coaches tout playoff experience and run. But if all you're getting to is the first round, not putting up much of a fight, which they won't, going to get blown out, which they will, for the long drive that I saw that they have to take to the neutral site that they're playing, is it worth it? No, it's not. I feel bad for the woman's husband or boyfriend, whoever her significant other is. I mean, she screamed and yelled like she just had hatred in her. There was no coaching. It's just yelling at these girls. Anyway, I'm anticipating seeing what that final score will be. I will be surprised if they put up more than 30. I'll be very surprised. I think it's being very generous in their matchup. They're not a talented team. And I'm not a mean-spirited person. I'm not. But when my table was close to the opposing bench for all these years, and I don't think I've had an opposing coach for boys or girls team not scream or yell. Very few. I probably could count them all on one hand if I go back and I think, but I can't go, 7 years. It's a lot of games. That's over 100 games. Just about. If I do 18 years, that's about 95. Yeah, about 95 games. So yeah, I just wanted to record this episode and talk about unprofessionalism. So thanks for listening. Later on.